so everything is fine, fine. I said I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. Know what you have, but you don't know what you go get. So cherish what you have to diminish regret. But what on earth lasts forever? Not even things created by the great Jehovah. So the green grass ceased to grow to allow the yellow vibes to flow. But boy, one song I sing, one bell I ring. If we didn't know, we'd never know yellow would have treat us so. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease, that's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. They began with the blame game, giving NNP more fame. Past administration, the cause of frustration. Past administration, chief of corruption. Then to economic recession, we can't give you attention. Economic recession, the cause of poverty in the land. Economic recession, no employment for the ordinary man. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease, that's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, All your projects are stuck in a pipeline, but when asked, how is the country going? Oh, fine. We are looking into it. Never mind. Only projects in pipeline. No water to cool down the yellow temperature. When will they start? Please answer that. Oh, soon. Maybe by the next full moon. Although things are turning at a very slow pace, we now run no race. 5 years is a lot of space. It's just a few hungry people in a place and a few disgruntled grim people with their vexed face. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease, that's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. Busy governing, busy managing, busy politicking, busy neglecting, busy inflicting poverty and hunger throughout Grenada. 1,000 Frenchmen can never be wrong, but you hold your yellow conviction strong. So why not send them advisors home? They're sucking money like water in foam. And rehire the Imanis, less stress on the economy. You are Manchester, whole of the country. You didn't see us down by the Bury when you sent SSU to between. Trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease, that's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. So we've heard about your internal division, but some can't digest that one. Remember the man say he's an asset to the party? And will we vote you without him? You left him with Glenn alone. Maybe they cloned. And however, I foresee a pretensive unity that will mislead a lot just before the next ballot. But you guys will have to come real good, cause it's a long time Grenada ain't eat a food. You think politician good? Trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease, that's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. You remember in the Bible God had a plan for Jonah to restore Nineveh? But who will restore Grenada? Is it the same Jonah? Lots of doubt, so I'm running up my mouth. And I ain't counting no chicken before the hatch. Politicians sometimes form a crooked batch. After they get the vote, they now sing one note. But here comes Fort Judy and Nancy Payne, with $1 million house and brand new car on the scene, while our hungry belly's still grumbling. And you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease, that's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. So yellow people say, next election not me stain that finger, cause after we say enough from Jonah, here comes still with more pressure and hunger. And from the mouth of Grenada, only one thing I utter, the Congress neglect us.
And a good night to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique once again. It is time for Talking Points. My name is Sheldon Scott, here with you up until the 10 o'clock hour.
Shake the free barrel.
Yes, we know it's a Friday night, so we're trying something tonight, yeah?
November. Salt
We do apologize for the late start,
campaign promises.
but that's what happens when you've got to take public transport.
We've waited in
Yeah, bus drivers had to make sure they're full in order and that the trip don't make sense when it factor any price of gas and parts and all kind of things. Some others feel it for them, so I mean, I don't make noise. Sometimes you just have to wait, eh?
can never be about change again. And in what language are you going to tell people to vote for NDC? In Japanese or Chinese? You better wrap up top.
But don't get used to the Friday. After a while, just go through. Nah, this might be the only Friday program you all get. Nah.
Whatever. Grenada still belongs to we. Although not
During the week, we okay. See the Friday nights?
by the Almighty. This poem,
A special good night to you, Zayla.
but I know
A special good night to you, Exalia.
for this poem,
Special good night to Zoe, Neela, and Namara. Deshaun, a special good night to all the children who I know are listening. Tonight is Friday night. You all may be able to get a little bit more than usual. Let me say good night to the Kathys. Kathy Pope, good night to you. Kathy Albert, good night to you as well.
this is not
Let me see who is on the YouTube on this Friday night. And I say a special blessing to each and every one of you, the Sabbath worshippers. Yes, the ones who are Sabbath worshippers. We say a special good night to each and every one of you, yeah?
to live up to your expectation.
We've got quite a lot to speak about tonight. Yeah, I might have to go a little past 10 and I feel I could stop at 10. I might have to go a little past 10, yeah. So Gemma Warwood, Sandra Pascal, good night to you. Vanessa Lalji, Agnes Henry, Shenron Thomas, good night to you. Hey, Alban Harris, my bro, good night to you. Baby Daddy, Sky, Kathleen Ledlow, Jenna Benjamin, Veronica Lewis, good night to you. Maria Noel, Kathleen Knight, Jackie Raymond, Carl Jones, good night. Maud Martin, Errol Bonaparte, Cynthia Bartholomew, good night to you. Lona Lolo Williams, good night. Shajan John, Mayana Julian, Anne-Marie Celestine Grant, always there with us, eh? Jacinta Livingston, good night to you. Janice Mitchell, Teddy Bear, good night, good night. Deborah Laborde, Carib Spice, Michelle Alexander, Wilma Paris, Faithlyn Halley, Douglas Kester, Victor Christine, Otley, Maria Marcel, Marilyn Ferguson. Yeah, roll call. Jacket man, I see you there, brother. Cindy Thomas, Matthew Boyd, Nick Baptiste, Dominic Antoine, Sharma Jeremiah, Beavis Angie, Oswald Belfont, Jesse Sherry, Anna Lewis, Dennis Fabio, Clive Raymond. Good night to you, bro. Charmaine Thomas, Beavis John, Gemma James, and Andrews, Eliza Bernard, Jakim Williams, Desiree Joseph. Good night. Jocelyn Matheson, Dennis Sandy, Kashima Roberts, good night to you. Let me see, Cindy Thomas, good night to you. Miriam Samuel, Miriam, I get it thing. Nice, thank you so very much, my dear. Good night to you. Tracy Slinger, hey Tracy, what's up? I haven't heard from you for a while. Kim Creedland, Maria Noel, GJ, good night. Let me see, Gloria Evans, good night to you, Gloria. Amanda Jeremiah, Crystal, good night to you. Dr. Dubois, a special good night to you, my dear. And over on the Facebook, we're going over this one. I don't see Yvonne Courtney name pass there already. Yvonne, good night to you. Olive McEwen, Ingrid Bourne, Winnie Simon, Sherms Hostin, Shirley Lacrette, Jill Williams, good night to you, my love. Dennis Fabio, Langdon Jane, good night. Patsy Budd, and let me see, Lynn Joseph, I see you there. Jane Bethel, good night. McLean Mitchell, Bernadette Joseph, John Mark, Patsy Budd, and Red Girl Pascal, Donna Langdon, Cicely Celestine, Antonito, good night to you, bro. Charmaine Ragba Singh, Monica Roberts, Cynthia Bay, good night. Cynthia B, good night. Ingrid Nelson, Peter Mitchell, adorable Kathy Gilbert Levine, good night to you, cuz. Maudlin Bartholomew, Dana Abraham, yes indeed. Jamari Auntie, Lisa Aberdeen, good night to you. Teresa Collimore and Sherms and Jackson, good night to each and every one of you joining us, and to the listeners joining us via We Noise Radio 94.9 out there in Brooklyn. A special good night to each and every one of you. Yeah, we have to get cracking.
Past administration, the cause of frustration. Past administration, chief of corruption. Then to economic recession, we
You know, before I get into the other issue, I was listening over something the other night. Yeah, I was listening over something the other night. And you know what was very surprising to me? You've seen the National Democratic Congress, they are pushing a narrative of this positive IMF report. Yeah, and they're speaking about how positive this IMF report is, the staff report that was released earlier this week, I believe it is. I've seen the various people sending it out. I know that they intend to deal with the issue of the IMF report on their program on Sunday. They have craftily ensured that the permanent secretary with responsibility for finance was on radio this week, radio and television this week, singing the praises of this positive IMF report. Remember, we heard him speaking about different aspects. He was asked questions about unemployment and things, but they were singing the praises. They even said that this IMF report that came out this week was supposed to have come out, was supposed to have been done. The staff was supposed to come here sometime in January or February, but due to scheduling, they had to come. Good night to you, Joyce Phillip. Yeah, due to scheduling, they had to come in Grenada a couple months early. I don't know if it's Grenada scheduling because we have some ministers and so who never here. They always out, eh? Yeah, they always out. So we know that we have some ministers that never here and that kind of thing. So we don't know, right? But they said scheduling, and due to the scheduling, that they had to do the report early. All positive things. But you know what it reminded me of? There was a staff report by the IMF, right? There was a staff report from the IMF in 2022. That's last year. It was positive towards the New National Party. That came out in January of last year. Deacon Mitchell, presently the Prime Minister of Grenada, had just become the leader of the National Democratic Congress. And you want to hear what he had to say about that particular IMF report? Yeah, I think we want to hear what he had to say about that particular IMF report. Let me see if I can find it. I should have it somewhere here, man. Yeah, I want to hear what he had to say about that IMF report. And I have it somewhere here. Where is it? Where did that go? Yeah, it's somewhere here. Yeah, I have it somewhere here and I'm not seeing it now. Yeah, but let me see. I think I can pull it up. Let me play for you what he had to say about the IMF report. And I'm still not seeing it here. I'm trying to find it. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me pull that up. That's what happens when you're coming here just on the cusp of when you're supposed to start.
When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. All your projects are stuck in a pipeline. But when asked, how is the country going? Oh, fine. We are looking into it. Never mind. Only projects in pipeline. No water to cool down the yellow temperature. When will they start? Please answer that. Oh, soon. Maybe by the next full moon. Although things are turning at a very slow pace, we now run the race. 5 years is a lot of space. It's just a few hungry people in a place and a few...
Yeah, so let me see if I can get that to play now. What the now Prime Minister had to say about the IMF report when it came out under the New National Party. Let's hear what he had to say then.
The IMF has given Grenada an excellent mark on their most recent reviews. I'm not sure which one of you two would like to answer this. And in terms of the handling of the economy during COVID, and what is the of course, anything about this statement would you like to add? Anything about the statement that has been said by the IMF that you would like to add towards this in terms of the excellent mark that it would get? Anything you like to add to that? You folks like to add to that? I'm not sure who wants to take a go at it. Go ahead.
But I was going to say, I read the statement. I didn't see that the statement said it was an excellent mark. So I'm not sure if I agree with your analysis. I think the statement was simply, frankly, a regurgitation of what was told to the IMF by the government of Grenada. In a nutshell, this was a virtual review of, and these reviews are standard. Because of the challenges posed by COVID-19, the IMF folks did not attend or come to Grenada. It was a virtual review. And coming out of these virtual reviews, the IMF will essentially publish a one-page statement, which is what it did.
Yes, so you've heard there what the now Prime Minister had to say about IMF reports. In fact, here's something else that he had to say in relation to the IMF report. Let's hear what else he had to say in relation to the IMF. Yeah.
The IMF doesn't run a country. The World Bank doesn't run a country. They've never done so, right? And at the end of the day, saying that you have a good report from the IMF doesn't mean anything if we have significant unemployment, if we have persons who are hungry within our country, if we have children who are not going to school because they do not have access to internet, they do not have access to tablets. And those are the issues we need to talk about, not a report from the IMF, frankly.
Okay.
Yes, so according to the present Prime Minister, when it comes to the IMF, and I think probably the people on radio had a problem there, you may not have heard, so I'm going to have to play it a little later in the program again for you all. But those of you online definitely heard what the present Prime Minister, when he was the leader of the National Democratic Congress and not yet Prime Minister of Grenada, what he had to say about the IMF and the reports. Yeah? You all heard what he had to say about the IMF and the reports that the IMF come out with. Yeah? He said that the IMF reports are nothing more than a reflection of what the government said to the IMF. So if that was true last year in January, then we expect it to be true now. So he's talking on himself. Because we know, and those of us that understand what is taking place know, that the intention remains that they simply wanted a report to go into budget and say the IMF has graded us and they have given us a positive review. Yeah? And nobody is saying it's not a positive review. But here he was saying to the Grenadian people that, hey, all you're studying IMF report and people, Paul, what we should be dealing with is the situation with poverty and lack of employment and so in the country, and not focusing on an IMF report. But yet still, all corner of the country you turn, you have NDC activists sending the IMF report. It's important? No. So they're sending the IMF report to you. You don't see IMF saying the country doing good. The IMF is simply reporting what the government said to them. That's what Deacon Mitchell said. That the IMF reports what they say, what yeah, Antonito, they forget that everything is stored. They could take down everything they want on the internet, we have it stored. So go ahead. And if you take down one spot, we have it another one. So you could try. All right? Nice. But yeah. So he was saying there that the focus should not be on the IMF report. Yeah? The focus should be on taking care of other things that are happening in the country and so on, and don't focus on the IMF report. Yeah? And I want to play some other stuff tonight. I want to play some other stuff because I'm going to come off the IMF shortly. Now, I'm going to play for you, and I'll ensure that those of you on radio can hear it properly as well. Before I go fully into the story, I want you all to understand what it is that I'm about to play. I'm going to play a message. It's a little long, but we have time tonight. So we're going over things properly tonight, right? We have the time, right? We have the time tonight, so we're going over things properly. Now, this is by the Archbishop of Trinidad, and he's speaking about what is now being called the Samoan loan. Now, the Samoan loan refers to an agreement that the European Union has asked various Caribbean, Latin American, and African countries to sign on to. Yeah? They've asked them to sign on to this agreement that you are going to do certain things within your country to be able to access any financing out of the European Union as an organization, the European Union, all those countries there, able to access billions of dollars in financing for be it agriculture or any other area that you have here in Grenada you are going to have to agree to specific things. And let's just hear what the Archbishop in Trinidad, because he was one of the people that started the conversation. He was one of the people that started the entire conversation around what some leaders have already signed to. Grenada said they wasn't signing, but we know what happened with that. So let's hear what the Archbishop had to say in relation to that particular. Let me just make sure everything is on here properly. Nice. Yeah, let's just hear what the Archbishop had to say in relation to this. Listen carefully. Yeah, listen carefully to what it is that he had to say. Nice? Good. Folks, for some reason, the audio is not coming through. Let me just make sure that I have everything the way it ought to be to ensure that that audio can come through. Oh boy. Yeah, I need to ensure that it's coming through clearly and that you all are hearing it, but I'm not seeing it coming through. Yeah, I'm not seeing it coming through. Yeah, so let me sort that out. Yeah, that's what happens again when you come in last minute. Nice? Yeah.
Same Jonah, lots of doubt, so I ain't running up my mouth. And I ain't counting no chicken before the hatch. Politicians sometimes form a crooked batch. After they get the vote, they not sing one note. But here comes Fort Judy and Nancy Payne, with $1 million house and brand new car on the scene, while our hungry belly still grumbling. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease, that's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. So yellow people say, next election not me stain that finger, cause after we say enough from Jonah, here comes still with more pressure and hunger. And from the mouth of Grenada, only one thing I utter: the Congress neglect us, the Congress fail us. And I could never understand the distribution of the wealth. So drink your bush home if you want good health. And for real, we appreciate the free barrel, but they only come in December. So what we are doing from January to November, suck salt and drink Nawasa water. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease.
Yeah, so I think I may have solved the issue. Let me just double check. I'm just double checking to make sure that I solve it, and then I'll bring it up.
What will be?
Because I want us to go over what he said. We're going to go over various aspects of the loan itself, because we heard the Prime Minister saying that, hey, we are not going to sign this and we're not going to sign it and so on. And after saying that they're not going to sign it, while the Prime Minister was saying that the loan was being signed, the Foreign Affairs Minister said that Grenada would not sign on to that loan unless they went through it and they made sure that everything in it, the Grenadian people are okay with that and everything. And after he said that, while the Foreign Minister was saying that, people under his charge were out there signing that loan. Yeah? While he was making that statement, there were people out there signing the loan. So we really need to find out what took place there. Yes, we really need to find out what took place there. So I'm just making sure that I have it properly. So when I play it, as I said, don't worry, we have enough time. Don't worry, we have enough time. So I want you to hear what the Archbishop down there in Trinidad had to say in relation about the loan. And then we'll go over what was said here in Grenada. We'll go over what was said in Jamaica, and we'll go over the loan itself, because I want you to have a very, very clear understanding of what is taking place when it comes to that particular issue. A very clear understanding of what is taking place when it comes to that loan, how it's going to affect us as Grenadians, how it's going to affect us as Grenadians, and why we should be concerned about the agreement that has been signed, and signed for a period of 20 years, and plus an additional 5. I'll get into all of that. So let's go here.
Today is a very special day in the world. It's a once-in-a-generation day. Today, 79 nations are meeting. The African, Caribbean, and Pacific nations are meeting to sign a document. And it's an EU agreement with the African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries. And the document is written as a trade agreement and as agreement of support financially, etc., for the African, Caribbean, and Pacific nations. But embedded in that agreement, and when it is signed, it is for 20 years, it cannot be revoked. When it embedded in that agreement is anyone who signs that agreement will have abortion legislation in their countries. They will have to impose abortion legislations, transgender, LGBTQ, comprehensive sex education, a whole range of values will be imposed because of the signing of the document. And what a wonderful day to have this reading. That leaders are not there for themselves, they are there for God. And they don't represent their ideology or their need to beg or their need to find whatever. They're there to represent what is right, what is true, what is noble, and what is beautiful. That's what leaders are there for. That's why they are elected. And the terrible thing is that we don't have a culture of advocacy in Trinidad and Tobago with our leaders. We put them there and we think, okay, they run themselves for the 5 years, and then after the 5 years, we decide to put them back or change them. And we don't see democracy as an engagement with the leadership in an ongoing conversation about what is good, true, noble, and beautiful for the nation. And so we put them there, and well, it's their business. But if they sign this, for 20 years, the nation is going to be in trouble. For 20 years. For 20 years. Now, people think that we are in a post-colonial society. And I keep hearing the term, and I keep asking myself, I don't know what they're talking about. There's nothing more colonial than LBGT ideology. Nothing more colonial than that. Biden has a document that he has signed that every department of America interfacing with every other country must make this a mandate in any relationship between the states. The EU is imposing upon us an ideology that is not ours and a value system that is not ours. And if we don't understand and wake up and smell the coffee quickly, we will find ourselves with values, with laws, with expectations, and with things being touted as rights that have nothing to do with us Caribbean people. Wake up and smell the coffee. It ain't far away, it's right here. Thank God, I understand that our government is not signing the document today. Thank God for that. Thank God for that. That our government got wind of it, has seen and understood, and they're saying they don't have enough information to be able to sign today. Thank God for that. Jamaica came out clearly and said, we are not for sale. But we are not for sale, sorry. They came out up front, publicly, and said, we're not for sale. It's the rest of the small islands of the Caribbean that I worry about today. Because whoever signs that document will then have to impose laws on their people that are not in keeping with the culture, values of us Caribbean people, and it will be a colonial imposition one more time on small, fragile states, on Africa, Pacific, and us here in the Caribbean. Now let me go back to what the scripture says. I talking about what the scripture says. Listen to what it says. If, as administrators of their kingdoms, you have not governed justly, nor observed the law, nor behaved as God would have you behave, he will fall on you swiftly and terribly. Ruthless judgment is reserved for the high and mighty. The lowly will be compassionately pardoned. The mighty will be mightily punished. You know, we are living as if all we have is here and now. And we are negotiating our life as if all we have is here and now. There's a world after this one. And there's a life after this one. And we spend our life for the values of God's kingdom. Even if it means in this world and in this time, we suffer for the stance that we make. Because we can't keep our eye on the short-term benefit of a trade treaty promising us trinkets and glitter. We have to keep our eyes on the long-term benefit of the kingdom of God, on heaven itself, and on what God has asked us and put into our hands, both to foster and to protect. The dignity of the human person is not for sale. It is not for sale. And we, today, I see today as a day of mourning. I am relieved that Trinidad is not signing just yet. But I am not relieved that 79 nations are coming together today with a document that would impose upon them conditions that many have not understood, the sub-clauses and the hidden agendas in those documents. Despots, yes, despots, my words are for you. It's not me, eh? This is the scripture, okay? Let me be clear on this, you know. Yes, despots, my words are for you, that you may learn what wisdom is and not transgress. For they who observe holy things holily will be adjudged holy, and accepting instruction from them will find their defense in them. Look forward, therefore, to my words. Yearn for them, and they will instruct you. Amen? Amen.
So, folks, you've heard there from Archbishop Jason, I think it is, Charles or something like that. Yeah. You've heard there from the Archbishop's message, and he delivered that message on the 15th. I think that's last week, yeah. He delivered that message out there in Trinidad. He was speaking about how many other countries, how many have signed and how many others have not signed and so on. And you know, what was interesting there is that he gave a historical perspective as well as a cultural perspective in his homily. He spoke to the fact that lifestyles that we are not used to, that we are not accustomed to, are being imposed, forced on us here in the Caribbean for trinkets. But he also said his view that your soul, remember there's a hereafter, and you're here for a reason, that your soul is not for sale. Yeah? Your soul is not for sale. That's what the Archbishop said. Yeah? But let's see if Grenada's soul, if our soul, let's see if our soul was for sale. Let's see what happened in Grenada. Yeah? Let's see what happened in Grenada.
Ambassador in the Kingdom of Belgium, His Excellency Raphael Joseph, on Wednesday, November 22, 2023, signed the Samoa Agreement on behalf of the state of Grenada. Heads of mission of 4 other member states, Burundi, Central African Republic, Niger, and St. Kitts and Nevis, also signed the agreement at the headquarters of the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States. The agreement represents the newest and most comprehensive partnership arrangement between member states of the European Union and 79 countries of the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States. The Samoa Agreement covers cooperation over the next 2 decades, including the promotion of social, economic, and cultural development of the ACP states, with a view to contributing to peace and security and promoting a stable democratic political environment in these countries. The EU would provide the funding in the sum of billions of euros for all programs and projects relating to the agreement. Prior to this, there was the Lomé Convention in 4 editions from 1975 to 1999, followed by the Cotonou Agreement from 2000 to 2021. Over the last 50 years, Europe, and in particular the European Union, has been the most consistent and productive development partner of the countries in the ACP grouping.
So, while you have heard the bishop speaking about that particular agreement and how that agreement is forcing us for the next 20 years, because I'm going to go over that agreement in a short while. It is forcing us within the next 20 years to change our laws and our constitutions, not just your laws, your constitutions, because remember, if you change a law and you have a law and it is inconsistent with the Constitution of Grenada, then that law is null and void. You can't make a law that removes a fundamental constitutional provision. Yeah? So that all laws have to be in line with your Constitution. So if what they're asking you to change in your law is inconsistent with your Constitution, then you have to change your Constitution to include what they want. And this should be a decision of the Grenadian people. This should not be a situation where an individual who they say is operating on behalf of the state of Grenada just goes out there and sign a document. It should not be a situation like that. Eh? It should not just be an individual just go out there and sign a document. You see they're signing it, eh? Yeah, just go out there and sign a document. They sign a document on behalf of us. Signed. Yeah? Signed. Released by no less than the office of the Prime Minister. Yeah? Because they're proud. The same day that they were telling you, the Prime Minister of Grenada was telling you that he didn't read it, that he don't know what's in it, and obviously they wouldn't sign anything that goes against what Grenadians believe in and the beliefs of Grenadians and so on. The same day he was telling you that, and the foreign minister was saying that they have to ensure they look at, we're going to play what they said just now, you know. The same time they're telling you that it was being signed. In fact, as far as I am concerned, the foreign minister needs to resign. Let me say it again. If nobody asking for it, I'm going to ask for it here tonight. The foreign minister needs to resign because he told a direct untruth, a lie to the Grenadian people. And we're going to go over that in a short while. We're going to go over what did the foreign minister and the prime minister say when it came to this specific issue. Yeah, we're going to go over that one in a little while, what they said. Yeah, because it is unfair to the Grenadian people that you're telling them that no, you don't believe that we should go Let me see if I could pull that one up for you. Yeah, and it seems that some of the clips I have tonight, some of them seem to be hiding from me tonight, and I don't know what's going on with that. Yeah, but I'm going to play that one for you in a little while. What the Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs had to say in relation to this particular one, because, and folks, the phone lines are open. The phone lines are open. We're going to take some calls while we discussing this particular one. Yeah? We will take some phone calls while we are discussing this particular one. Because the press release from the Prime Minister's office says, Resident Ambassador in the Kingdom of Belgium, His Excellency Raphael Joseph, on Wednesday, 22nd November 2023, signed the Samoa Agreement on behalf of the state of Grenada. Head of mission of 4 other member states, Burundi, Central African Republic, Niger, and St. Kitts and Nevis, also signed the agreement at the headquarters of the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States. The agreement represents the newest and most comprehensive partnership arrangement. Well, this is what the Prime Minister's office saying. Remember, the Prime Minister said he didn't read it. Between the European Union, EU member states, and the 79 countries comprising the Organization of American, Caribbean, and Pacific States. The Samoa Agreement covers cooperation over the next 2 decades, including the promotion of social, economic, and cultural development of the Africa, Caribbean, Pacific states, with a view to contributing to peace and security and promoting a stable, democratic political environment in those countries. The EU will provide the funding in the tune of billions of euros for all programs and projects relative to the agreement. Prior to this, there was the Lomé Convention in 4 editions from 1975 to 1999, followed by the Cotonou Agreement from 2000 to 2021. Indeed, over the last 50 years, Europe, and in particular the European Union, has been the most consistent and productive development partner of the countries in the ACP grouping. That is a release that came out from the office of the Prime Minister. Yeah? That is a release that came out from the office of the Prime Minister. Let's go to the phone lines. Hello, good night.
Brother Sheldon.
Yes, good night.
Good night. Brother Sheldon, to me, it only doom. I would say, go, they sign something, you really don't understand what a man giving to sign. So if a man brings something in front of you, and you don't read and they sign, so what he brings there to kill him, your mother. So you go and sign without reading. And Brother Sheldon, I believe the Prime Minister know what he signed on to. He know, and when in the press conference that this way they say they Grenada have not a sign, that was a lie. That was a lie. And everything we hear the government, the Prime Minister and government doing, is things that they know they do it already, but they come and say they didn't do it. And Brother Sheldon, it comes down like morality gone out of the door, and immorality stepping in. For what? For the love of money. And so you're doing anything, you destroying your country.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, you go ahead. Yeah.
You're destroying your country for love of money. And Brother Sheldon asked me the question, where are the people who talk about morality? Where are them? They keep them all short. Right? And Brother Sheldon, Dr. Mitchell would have never signed that. Any one of the ministers under the previous government would never sign that. Because I remember Dr. Mitchell said that over a dead body, he will sign anything like that. Will man for man, that for that. He will not sign for that. As God created his world, he created man for woman and woman for man, not for man. Right? And Brother Sheldon, I want to say again to the Grenadian people, stand up for that. Stand up for what is right in the country. You cannot, nothing should supersede the law of the land and the Constitution. Right? We have to stand up. We have to speak out. And time for Grenada to come out and speak out against what this government want to bring. What want to bring into the country here. What are you doing for money? Right? You're doing for money. And when man broke, some man need money, do anything for money. But the government broke, they have money. But if they don't have money, they don't have to travel regular. They won't have taking increase on their salary. on the salary. So, Brother Sherlin, I want to say again to the Grenadian people, come out and say, I call upon the church to condemn that. Condemn that. But Brother Sherlin, I remember in a referendum, two referendums took place. Mm-hmm. And I know we used to tell people about what they say about the government to legalize that. More tell people no, that's not true. That's not what they in the bill. Right? But the government and who was leading that was the NDC Claudette Joseph. And now the same thing they was against, they want to come and pass it. Immorality coming taking over because of money and the love of money. But Brother Sherlin, we the Grenadian people, we stand up and we fight for what is right in our country. And the law of the law of the land had to abide, not what a man thinks.
Okay, caller. All right, thank you. 440-7377, 347-329-3101. Let me say this. When it came to, the caller mentioned the constitutional reform process. Remember, what killed the first constitutional reform process? No way. I could tell you for a fact, nowhere in the original, the first constitutional reform and the second one, was there anything inside there about legalizing same-sex marriage, etc., etc. That was a narrative that was pushed by opposition forces who thought that that process not being successful would cause them to have some sort of political win that would blow them into office. That didn't happen. They get licked same way. But they thought that that would help them get into office. It didn't happen. Now, the same voices who were making noise back then, when we go over the different aspects of that bill, and folks, remember to like and share. Remember, it is a Friday night. Many people are not aware that we are on tonight. So remember to like and share. Although I see numbers looking nice, but still a lot of people are not aware that we are on tonight. So remember to like and share. Like and share. All right, nice. Yeah. They didn't read. The Prime Minister didn't read. And here's what, let me explain, because I'm going to play what the Prime Minister said. As I say, I'm going to play. And I'm not going to cut anything. I'm playing from when the question asked the final word the Prime Minister say. I want you all to hear in its entirety what he said when it came to this issue and what the Minister of Foreign Affairs said when it came to this particular issue. Yeah? I don't want nobody come and say, well, it's not that and they didn't know. I want to play the entire thing so that you can hear what was said. And I'm just trying to make sure I got the right one here. Yeah, and I still don't have the right one in front of me. Yeah? Yes, because I'm trying to get the right video in front of me to play it so that you can hear. Yes, I found it. Right, so let me play for you the question. No, that's still the wrong one. Yeah, let me just get that one for you so that I can play it so that you can hear what was said by the Prime Minister on this issue and what was said to... Oh boy, I don't know what is happening with my videos tonight. The video that I'm looking for, I just am not seeing it. Yeah, but I wanted you to hear what was said. But before we get to that, let me play what was said out of Jamaica in relation to that issue. Let's hear what the Jamaicans had to say, because remember, Jamaica didn't sign it. And I wonder what Jamaica had to say, why they didn't sign it, and what was the reason they didn't sign it, and that sort of thing. Let's hear what they had to say in relation to that while I look for the other video. It's supposed to be here. Let me just look for the other video.
Welcome back. On November 10, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced that Jamaica would be delaying its signing of the post-Cotonou Agreement in Samoa, also known as the Samoa Agreement, in order to facilitate ongoing consultations. The Samoa Agreement aims to strengthen cooperation between the EU and her member states and the member states and regions of the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States, and highlights key priorities for partnership. It unites 106 countries and approximately 1.5 billion people. Joel Croskill reports.
The decision by the GOJ to delay the signing was clarified by Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith. The minister's statement comes after a November 9 release from the Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society, JCHS, which argued that among other concerns, the agreement will bind Jamaica to undefined human rights obligations tied to trade sanctions, as well as reintroduce comprehensive sexuality education back into schools, despite outrage in 2012 with regards to its content.
The government of Jamaica has determined that it will delay its signing of the post-Cotonou Agreement in Samoa, now known as the Samoa Agreement, in order to facilitate ongoing consultations. Throughout the negotiations, which concluded in 2021, the government had taken on board the views of various stakeholders, including members of civil society.
The signing of the Samoa Agreement is scheduled to take place on November 15. However, for 27 months, the JCHS and 7 other Jamaican NGOs have been impressing upon the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade to take heed of the threats to Jamaica's national sovereignty in the current language of the agreement.
And after what was in fact 3 years of challenging negotiations, the government was satisfied that the language of the text in the final agreement would not supersede Jamaica's domestic legislation. And notwithstanding, the government has taken note of concerns which continue to be raised by stakeholders in the domestic space. So we will continue consultations with the aim of providing assurances regarding the government's unfailing intent to always protect the interests of Jamaica and Jamaicans with the laws of Jamaica as our guide.
Coincidentally,
So folks, while Jamaica is saying that here in Grenada, the government saying one thing, and then they make sure they went and they sign it. So they were saying one thing here in Grenada, and while they were telling you one thing, they made sure that they went and they did this. Well, let's hear what they had to say when asked the question about that in the first place.
All right, good afternoon, Prime Minister Nakito Wells with WPG-10. The recently signed Samoa Agreement came under some fire from a Trinidad Archbishop who claims that signatories of the agreement would have to implement, LGBTQ and, sorry, I lost the question, I'm coming back. Yes, so let me go. So he said that they would have to impose abortion legislation and transgender and LGBTQ comprehensive education. Can you shed some light on that for us, please? Thank you.
Well, first I'll ask the Minister for Foreign Affairs, I think, to address where Grenada is in relation to that agreement, and then I can share my general comments on, I think, the Archbishop's comments.
Sure.
Good. So thus far, Grenada and a number of other CARICOM and some other countries in the Pacific and African region of the OACPS have not yet signed. Trinidad and Tobago has not yet signed. I do not believe that Jamaica has signed at this moment. So there's a window for countries to sign. And I don't believe that, well, Grenada for sure, we are not willing to surrender our sovereignty to any international organization. And if there is any part of any proposed agreement that is inconsistent with our Constitution and with our values, we'll think very long and hard before entering into any such agreement.
I don't know if you still need to get my view.
You can, if you so desire.
Well, I think, whether it's international agreements or not, morality and values, to a large extent defined by the culture of any particular country or any particular region. And so, questions about, certainly the questions raised by the comments of the Archbishop, I think are always good. They're questions for debate. They're questions about what leadership involves or it doesn't involve. But I always want to say, first and foremost, morality is a private issue. That's one. We have to bear that in mind. Two, certainly in the context of the region, we've had separation of church and state a long time ago. And three, from a public perspective, the government deals with law and what's legal or what's not legal. And so we have to be careful that we do not blur the line between private morality and law. And I certainly think from our perspective, the morality of other countries is not something that should be imposed on the morality of other countries. Nor, in my view, should it be tied to aid, because it essentially means other countries are trying to impose either their morality or their public policy on other countries by tying it to aid. So that's not, philosophically, that's not something we support. Our approach is if a country intends to engage in, whether it's grant funding, aid funding, or loans with us, those are commercial matters. And from our perspective, it is commercial terms that should govern them. If you attempt to impose what I would call morality issues into them, then I think certainly from our perspective, we view the two as separate, and it is not likely that this government will simply sign because we need to get some grant funding or some aid funding. So to that extent, the bishop's views are obviously his, and the sense I got from his comments is, I don't know, and that's one of the things I have to say. I myself have not read the agreement, so I can't tell you whether the agreement...
Folks, you heard what the Prime Minister just said. He did not read the agreement that was signed by Grenada on the same day, that he himself didn't read it. Let's hear him again.
Sense I got from his comments is, I don't know, and that's one of the things I have to say. I myself have not read the agreement.
So you're telling me here that the Prime Minister of Grenada is saying he didn't read the agreement, so he doesn't know what's in the agreement. Yet still, Grenada's representative out there went and signed. Yeah? But it's not me say, it's the Prime Minister say that he don't know what's in the agreement. Let me hear.
The sense I got from his comments is, I don't know, and that's one of the things I have to say. I myself have not read the agreement, so I can't tell you whether the agreement says the things that people are saying it says. I suspect at the end of the day, our technocrats and bureaucrats who go through the agreement will best be in a position to tell us exactly what the agreements actually state.
So your Prime Minister did not read the agreement, eh? He didn't read the agreement. Yet still, that agreement was signed. That's how we're doing business in Grenada now. The agreement, the Prime Minister didn't read it, yet still that agreement was signed. Yeah? In a release from the office of the Prime Minister, no less, they said that the agreement was signed. And it was signed on the same day that the Prime Minister was saying that he didn't read it. So Grenada has now gotten to the stage that we're signing international agreements with all sorts of clauses inside there that you must accept the European standard of what is right and what democracy means, that you must accept their standard of what they believe in relation to gender and gender equality and all these sort of things. Because whereas years ago we may have thought of gender in the context of male and female, that's not what gender means in 2023. But anyway, you're seeing here that, let's get his name, it's somewhere inside here, Resident Ambassador His Excellency Raphael Joseph. He signed that document on behalf of Grenada. And Mr. Joseph, who is a public servant serving the people of Grenada, could not take on his own and go and sign it, because if he take on his own and go and sign it, then I expect to see his letter of resignation this weekend being put out by the office of the Prime Minister. Let me say that again. If Mr. Raphael Joseph, the resident ambassador in the Kingdom of Belgium, did not have the permission of his line minister, Mr. Joseph Andal, who is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and if Mr. Joseph Andal did not have the permission of Cabinet, of which the Prime Minister, Mr. Deacon Mitchell, who didn't read the agreement, is the chairperson. Because you don't sign these agreements like that. This should have been discussed at a cabinet level. After being discussed at a cabinet level, the minister is given the okay. This is not just a fly-by-night sort of thing. This has tied the Grenadian people into the various aspects of this agreement for the next 20 to 25 years. So if Mr. Raphael Joseph did not get the permission of his line minister to sign that agreement, we need his resignation or his firing, one or the other. If indeed he did get the okay from his line minister, because I'm leaving it up on the screen for you to see who put it out. You could go to the Prime Minister's, the Office of the Prime Minister of Grenada Facebook page. You can go there now and you would see this. When I copied it, it was 6 hours ago. It's over a day now, yeah? So you can go and you can get this there. Because if Mr. Joseph got the permission of his line minister, but his line minister did not get the permission of cabinet, then the line minister has to be fired or should resign. And if this came to cabinet and the chairperson of cabinet, which is the Prime Minister, Mr. Deacon Mitchell, who just told all of us, you all heard it, that he didn't read it, yet still you have a man out in Belgium signing it, then brothers and sisters, we in a serious place in this country. We in real problems, we in more problems than we know. Because it means we have people out there who say they're representing us signing things that the government don't know about, the cabinet don't know about. And I'm pretty sure that somebody had to give permission for it to be signed. Somebody had to give permission for the gentleman to go out there and sign the agreement. He could not do that on his own. He is not doing it. Look, they're signing it. You heard the Archbishop speak about it. You heard the Jamaican and the Jamaican Foreign Minister speak about it. Yeah? You hear our Foreign Minister speak about it and saying that they wouldn't get into something that they believe is against what Grenadians believe in. And so did they discuss this with Grenadians to find out what Grenadians believe in the first place? No, they went and they signed it. Even with the concerns being raised throughout the Caribbean and other countries in relation to different aspects of this, they went ahead. Look, he's signing it day. The same thing that you hear the Prime Minister just tell you that he did not read, they signing it day. Yeah? So it is signed and sealed. And now for the next 20 years, we are locked in. Folks, the phone lines are open. 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. We are now locked in to that agreement. Yeah? And there are various things in that agreement, you know. Let me see, I can pull it up here. There are various things in that agreement that some of us may be concerned about. Yeah, there are various things in that agreement that some people might be very concerned about. Yeah? Very, very concerned about. Let me see if I could pull up an aspect here. Right? And the thing is, when you read something like this, for instance, Article 64 of the agreement, it says integration and non-discrimination. The parties shall pursue efforts to adopt effective integration policies for those who reside legally in their territories, which are aimed at granting rights and imposing obligations comparable to those of their citizens and to promote social cohesion. In that respect, the parties shall support the development and implementation of strategies to integrate nationals of a member state of the European Union or of an OACPS member who reside legally in the territories of the OACPS members or the member states of the European Union, respectively, into labor markets and host societies, supporting and strengthening cooperation and coordination of various actors working on integration at national, regional, and local levels, including local government and civil society. So to us, that seems as though, yeah, they're just saying that when people come here, we have to treat them right. But what this says here as well is that if a couple is married, let's say in Norway, so there is a man that is married to a man in Norway. That is what this is saying. Non-discrimination and integration. They have to get the same treatment as anybody here and as they get where they come from. So that if that individual were to come here, those individuals, a male who is married to a male, they have to be treated as how we would treat any other married couple here in Grenada. The same with a female that might be married to a female, with the same rights and privileges as married couples have in Grenada, because they are considered married in their territory. When they come here, they have to be considered in the same context as being married. Yeah? So you can't discriminate against them and say, well, Grenada doesn't recognize that. Grenada has to recognize it. We signed to that, Article 64. The parties agreed to ensure fair treatment of nationals of a member state of the European Union or of an organization, the OACPS member who reside legally in the territories, right? Members of the member states of the European Union, respectively. Enhancement of non-discrimination in economic, social, and cultural life, as well as the development of measures against racism and xenophobia. Nobody has a problem with getting rid of racism and xenophobia and those sort of things. But what we are saying is that there are various aspects of these things that were not properly looked at. Trinidad is saying we need to properly look at this thing before we go and sign anything. Jamaica is saying we need to look at this thing before we sign anything. Grenada, we just go and sign it. While Prime Minister has not read it, we just go and we sign it. Yeah? Let's take a look at Article 9. Article 9 is about human rights, democracy, and rule of law. Under Section 2 of Article 9, it says the party shall commit to the promotion of universal respect for and observance of human rights and fundamental freedoms for all, without discrimination based on any ground. That's why I highlighted that section. Without discrimination based on any ground. So you cannot discriminate against a person based on their sexuality. You cannot discriminate on a person based on their sexuality. So that all the rights and privileges that are given to heterosexual couples within the state of Grenada, Grenada has said that they will agree to give those rights now to same-sex unions, same-sex marriages. Yeah? So they cannot discriminate, and they have signed to agree to that. Now, what these folks have done is that they crafted a document and they left out certain words in the document. That entire document, there is no space in that document. You will find the word gay, lesbian, LGBTQ, sexual orientation. The word orientation doesn't even appear anywhere in the document. But they speak about gender-based. And right now you're speaking about things within the world like gender fluid and so on, where an individual who was born male could decide that that's no longer my gender. I decide I want to be female, or they decide that they're not going to have any gender, and so on. Grenada has agreed to that by signing that document. Yeah, because remember, it says here, without discrimination based on any ground. Yeah, including, not limited to, it said including, and they know why they didn't put everything inside there. So they said including sex, ethnic or social origin, religion or belief, political or any other opinion, disability, age, or other status. Yeah? So they commit to fighting all forms of racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and related intolerance, and all forms of violence and discrimination. Nobody has a problem with fighting against all forms of violence and discrimination. We're just saying, if you are going to sign to that you should speak to the Grenadian people before you sign to it, because there are certain things that are not culturally normal in the Grenada context that you have just signed to allow. And it goes back to what the bishop was saying in Trinidad. Whether you're religious or you're not religious, it goes back to what he was saying there. That they are using this and saying that, oh, you will not qualify for funding. In fact, you can be sanctioned. So you will not qualify for funding if you do not remove these discriminatory, as far as they're concerned, because we may not see it as discrimination, but the European Union definitely sees it as discrimination. Yeah? So they are saying that we have to abide by the standards that they set, not standards that we set, you know. That the African countries and the Pacific countries and the Caribbean countries, in order to access the billions of dollars of loans and grants and that money, that pipeline of money from the European Union, that we now have to agree with their standards, not our standards, because they may not agree with our standards. They've mentioned things like the death penalty and looking to review the death penalty and all those sort of things. So they're actually telling you straight up that no matter what the situation regarding crime in your country and so on, we ain't care. You got to get rid of the death penalty and those kind of things. They are imposing what they believe the Caribbean people should think. They are imposing what they think our culture should include. They are imposing what they think our laws should say, and not just our laws, but our supreme law, our constitution should say. Yeah? I'm going to ask, did civil society get an opportunity to go over this document and see some of the things that the government has signed to? Did they get a chance to... Yeah? Article 2. Inclusive and pluralistic societies. The parties undertake to ensure equal opportunities for all members of societies in all spheres of life. Sounds nice, eh? Until you read the fine print of what that really means. They shall prevent, prohibit, and eradicate discriminatory practices and shall adopt effective measures to ensure the full and equal enjoyment of all human rights. When they speak of human rights and discriminatory, they're not speaking of that in the context of what you or I as Grenadians think. They are speaking of that in the context of what the Europeans, the people in Sweden and Norway and Germany, what they think. They're not speaking in the terms of what we think. We're not the ones sending billions of dollars to them. Not these days, at least. They are the ones looking to send billions of dollars down here. But they will sanction you if certain things remain on your law books. So if laws that we have existing in Grenada now that can be perceived to be discriminatory against same-sex unions or same-sex marriages and those sort of things, the same thing that the Attorney General of Grenada right now was most vociferous. She was one of the main voices fighting against that. And it was non-existent at that point in time. Madam Attorney General, where you there? Claudette, where you? The original tongue girl, where is hanging up light on the carnage, where you? Because she was the voice that was out there saying that we should not accept that in our society, and fought tooth and nail against this particular type of thing here in Grenada. But we're not hearing her now because her government is in office, and without even discussing with the Grenadian people, like with the constitutional reform process where you brought it and you allowed people to give their different views, including her. In this context, it was signed. It was signed. And did the Grenadian people get a say in relation to it? It sounds nice. It sounds cute. But when you go through the document itself and you see some of the things that they are asking you, and we have the entire document, we've got the entire thing. We've got the whole document, yeah? You've got the entire thing. All 403 pages of it. Yeah? We've got the entire document, all 403 pages of that document, we've got it. Yeah? So they are imposing on you various things. Trinidad say, boy, let's look at this thing carefully before going and sign it. 403 pages, like, look at it, discuss with different groups and so, and then make a decision as a nation whether we willing to sign on to it. There may be people within Grenada now that have no problem with that. There definitely are people in Grenada right now would have no problem with legalizing same-sex marriage. There definitely are people in Grenada who would have no problem with removing sodomy laws from on our law books. There are definitely people in Grenada would have no problem with ensuring that you have legalized abortion in Grenada and all these sort of things. There are definitely people that believe in those things and do not have a problem if those things are part of the law in Grenada and no longer illegal. But there are also people in Grenada who may hold a different view. And instead of trying to find out who has which view, government just go and sign. What you going to do now? Pull out it? You ain't it for 20 years plus an additional 5 if they decide that they're going to go an additional 5 with that. You into that for an additional 5. Folks, again, we're going to open the phone lines 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. I want to hear a bit from you all what you think about this particular signing that has taken place. Remember the Prime Minister say, he read it. And out of everything that has been said tonight, that has been the most dangerous of statements in relation to this issue. Because the Prime Minister, understand this, the Prime Minister is the chairperson of Cabinet. He chairs Cabinet meetings. The Prime Minister is the chairperson of Cabinet. So he ought to know and have an understanding of everything that passes through Cabinet. So if you have this agreement that says certain things, that gives the opportunity for Grenada to be able to access billions of dollars for national development and so on, but you might get all the money for national development, but at the end of the process, you may have a different type of Grenada. You may not have a Grenada that somebody who was here 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and came back may not be able to recognize, because the cultural norms that we have may have to change. Yeah? May have to change. The laws that we have in place will have to change. So the most dangerous statement is the one where the Prime Minister says that he didn't read this. He didn't read this. We have a caller on the WhatsApp. Let me lock that caller in and get them onto the line. Yeah? We have a call on the WhatsApp. Good night. Hello.
Good night, sir.
Hi, good night.
Good night, sir.
Yes, sir.
Isn't our Prime Minister a learned lawyer?
Yes, he is.
So when he goes to court and when he goes and against the workers, against the government for Grenlec, did he read those things before?
Well, I'd assume that he would ensure that when he's going to court, he reads up and then he would reflect on other similar cases and what precedent has been set in other judgments and so before stepping into a court to defend or to go against the attack in a particular case. I would expect that that's what he would do.
So now, sir, my question is, he did not read something that had to be signed on the behalf of all of us, Grenadian, Caricunians, and Petit Martiniquais. He did not read it?
No, he didn't read it, but it was signed. And here's the crux of the matter. Eh? It was signed on the same day. The same day he was making those statements, the agreement was signed on the same day. In fact, it probably was being signed while he was saying that.
Lord, my brothers and sisters in Petit Martinique, Carriacou, and Grenada, listen, please. The Prime Minister is pleading dumb when he decides to plead dumb, and he's supposed to be a brilliant man, never reading certain things he's telling us, but he read things when he had to make money. Have a blessed day, sir.
All right. Thank you so very much, caller. 440-7377. That's a 440-7377. Yeah, I you know what? Let me play it again because don't take my word for it. I want you all to be able to say, you all heard what he said, not what Sheldon says. You all heard what the Prime Minister said when it came to this issue. Yeah? I'm going to play it again. Phone lines are open, 440-7377. You can call. And 347-329-3101. And remember, the WhatsApp line is available as well.
All right, good afternoon, Prime Minister Nakito Wells with WPG 10. The recently signed Samoa agreement came under some fire from a Trinidad Archbishop who claims that signatories of the agreement would have to implement...
And let's take this call. We'll come back to that. Hello, good night.
Hey, good night, Sheldon.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having the program tonight because we needed it. Dr. Mitchell was excellent last night. Sheldon, I want to ask a question. Who is the advisor to the Prime Minister when there are legal documents to be signed?
That would be the Attorney General, Honorable Senator, the Honorable Claudette Joseph, the original tongue girl.
Where is Senator Honorable Claudette Joseph, the Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, when this thing was being passed about in cabinet or being perused? Well, apparently the Prime Minister couldn't peruse it because he was on an island. So I guess that may happen.
That's not an excuse.
Right?
That's not an excuse.
Remember, we had some acting, we had an acting Prime Minister for a couple of days, so probably that passed through that Prime Minister.
No, but
because he wasn't Prime Minister at the time.
Still, even though that would happen that you have an acting Prime Minister, they may delay the cabinet sitting until the substantive Prime Minister is here. So it may not be a situation that you had an acting Prime Minister here, and there's no excuse. You're speaking of billions of dollars here, and you're speaking of a document 400 and something pages long. It is not something that was sent the day before for you to read, for you to sign. This document has been existing for quite a while.
Yes.
Yeah? But go ahead.
Sheldon, what I'm seeing here, and I keep saying, Grenadians, listen carefully because quite clearly, when these guys come to press conferences, I keep saying it from day one, it's a dark smoke. Since the men said information is on a need-to-know basis, you can see these men on games. You can see it, and it's a dangerous precedence. We need to stop, take this kind of mediocre activity from this government. And the cheerleaders and the supporters who playing dumb and blind to all these things, they're not seeing it. This is dangerous. And hear what? All these laws that we have on our books concerning certain things, burglary and whatever, these things have to be struck basically. That's what I seen.
No,
right?
All have to be removed. All have to be removed.
Right. We have to go back to the drawing board, which means the constitution had to change. All kind of things had to change also.
Yeah, any aspect of the constitution that violates this has to be changed. They specified that in the document as well.
You understand? I mean, come on, Grenadians. You're also being a party and a man that y'all cannot see what is happening right before your own eyes. It begs me to ask the question again. All the other loans that they're getting, what are the requirements that we are not being told about? Because clearly, our honorable Prime Minister, our most honorable Prime Minister, as they say, is not reading. And there's nothing wrong with that. And people, lives are going to be changing. And I'm telling you, Shalon, we have a serious national issue when it comes to security right now. We are seeing a lot of gun violence increasing in Grenada. I beg of this Prime Minister, please look into this thing. Because it's going to get worse. And we're going to the Christmas, tourist season now open back. Let you have a nice Christmas, man. But anyhow, keep up the program. Nice one tonight. Dr. Mitchell, you did well last night. Have a good night, Talking Points family.
All right, brother. We have another call online. Good night.
Good night.
Hi, good night.
Sheldon, good night. Good night.
Good night, good night.
But I'm not sure when you see the kind of what the name want to bring England there for people children. That is all you could learn them people children.
Well, let me tell you this, sir. It also says there that you have to reform certain aspects of your education system. So you will have to teach about LGBTQ within your education system. You will have to. You can't discriminate. So you have to teach that within the educational system. You cannot discriminate. And one thing, let me just make a statement. I keep saying loan. It's not a loan agreement. It is an agreement between the EU and these states and so on. But it gives you access. It says what you should be doing, and so to be able to access loans and grants and different things from them. Let me just make that clear. It's not a loan agreement. It is just an agreement between the EU and these countries. But go ahead, caller.
Yeah, but that would be a problem with other people children. Because if it's that you want to bring in there, you could have bring something, better than that. Come on. That don't make no sense. Which Prime Minister ever see pass to Grenada, Kaizen, Peter Madnik, and bringing this kind of stupid minister? Yeah. No. We ain't signing for that day. Not because they say Grenada is stupid. But we ain't signing for that day. We ain't signing for that day. Because this is what them nowadays. When you hear they start going them in school and do them that, they go on to do the 2-year-old sister that, they 2 all little brother that. And other people children, they do that in school, it's going to bring a problem. And this and them going to go end up in court. They cannot do better than that.
All right.
We don't want that thing, Nah, you have to take it back. If you want to do it, like you do it for yourself and bust it by my hole.
Yeah, no. Let's not get into that kind of thing. They're not on this program, please. All right, caller. Thank you very much. All right. Yeah, let me not go down them kind of road there, right? Nice. Lead off of the street, not on the program. 440-7377. Yeah, I understand people get passionate and so, but let's just be careful. Nice? Right. 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get on the inside. You can also call 347-329-3101. And we have a caller that I'm locking in from the WhatsApp. Hello, good night. Hello, good night.
Good night, Brother Sheldon. How are you?
I'm quite fine. You go right ahead.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. In 2008, the NDC had a slogan, or how do you call it? Not the slogan, no, the motto.
Mm-hmm.
They had the motto. I wouldn't mention it now, I'll mention it later. They run on the motto. They won. They lost. They keep the motto. They lost 2018. They keep the motto. I will call him Randall Robinson, Jerry Hopkins. They keep the motto. 2022, they won. Since after 2022, like putting people first has lost. Where's the motto of keep putting people first? All they are doing now is just within the ranks, within their own decisions. Have they lost the motto? That's the only thing I want to know now with NDC. Has putting people first gone out of the radar? Can they come next election and tell us putting people first? I want to know. Thank you very much. That's all I have to say.
All right, caller. Thank you. 440-7377. That's 440. Yeah, I want to hear from you. What you think in relation to this? Yeah, I want to hear from you. Yeah.
If we intend to engage in whether it's grant funding, aid funding, or loans with us, those are commercial matters. And from our perspective, it is commercial terms that should govern them. If you attempt to impose what I would call morality issues into them, then I think certainly from our perspective, we view the two as separate, and it is not likely that this government will simply sign because we need to get some grant funding or some aid funding.
All right. Yeah, so we hear you, Mr. Prime Minister, but you sign, eh? We have a caller online. Good night.
Hello?
Hi, good night, caller. You're live. Go right ahead.
Yeah, good night, Sheldon.
Hey, that voice sound familiar.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, what's up?
Very much so. I have a concern.
One alone?
How do we go about changing those laws that have been affected by that agreement?
Well, what I would say is this. They've signed, and it means that they definitely will have to change those laws. They'll have to go through Parliament with it. They've got the numbers. Yeah? They've got the numbers, so they could pass any law they're looking at. But if it goes against the Constitution, they have two options. They could either not pass the law, or they would have to change the Constitution as well. And if it's a minor change to the Constitution, they've got 2/3 majority. They can actually do that, according to the type of change that needs to be done to the Constitution.
So based for example, the whole question of the laws for example, the buggery laws, the laws that affect things like the homosexuals and the gay and everything like that in our Constitution, right? Do they just have to have a 2/3 majority, or do they have to come back to the people to change that Constitution?
I would leave that one up to the constitutional experts. But what I do know is that if it is considered, I do know if it is considered a simple change, that once you have a 2/3 majority, you can change that aspect of the Constitution. Other than that, you would need a constitutional referendum to make anything that's considered a major change. Yeah? And even though the New National Party had all the seats on 3 occasions, 2 back-to-back occasions, it did not make changes to the Constitution. It still gave the opportunity to the Grenadian, not even simple changes that could have been made. They didn't make those changes. They left it up to the Grenadian people.
So in your view, laws on our books like the buggery laws and so, is that a simple or one that we would have to go back to the Constitution, to the referendum?
Again, I wouldn't be able to say. I definitely wouldn't be able to say that one. I would leave it up to I don't want to say no and is yes or yes and is no. I'll leave that one up to a constitutional lawyer. I ain't go to law school yet.
I think we got to bring in Mr. Ruggles Ferguson or Dr. Alexis or somebody one of these days to do some clarification. However, though, I'm very much concerned. I've been saying that over the last couple of months and so, right? We have a dummy prime minister. Pardon my language, right? Because how can you be a lawyer, right, and stand in front of the people of your country, right, and tell them you lied for them? In my view, he not didn't read. I think that he lied. He lied to the people and tell them that he did not read that agreement. He knows nothing about it. Okay? But yet for all, while he was doing that press conference, the agreement was being signed. I mean, how ridiculous and how dummy a prime minister that we could have, both he and the foreign minister. These guys are idiots. That's why people always say, you have a briefcase of academics and so, but you're dummy. You can't reason. You can't do the things that people expect you to do. How on earth can you agree to an agreement that you have not read as the leader of our country? I could have seen if he leave that for one of the ministers or MPs to talk about, but you as prime minister would come to the nation and tell us that you have not read the agreement, but yet, Paul, while you're saying that the agreement is being signed, that is the most stupidest prime minister and foreign minister that we ever had in this country.
Well, what I'll say, before you go to what I'll say is this.
Yes.
I'll say somebody had to either tell the individual who signed, Mr. Raphael Joseph, I believe is his name.
Yes.
Somebody had to give him permission to sign.
Of course.
For him to sign. I do not think that the individual is so psychologically and psychotically deranged that they would just go and sign a document on behalf of Grenada without permission from the minister, who is his line minister, or the cabinet of Grenada, through the line minister. And even when it comes to the minister, because the minister could easily be thrown under the bus here, and it could be said that the minister operated on his own and did this and so.
Of course.
But the minister usually would not operate without the okay of cabinet.
Especially the foreign minister.
The minister is exercising powers not in his own deliberate judgment, but through the deliberations that take place within the cabinet. At least that's how it's supposed to be. But remember, a certain minister had said before that he not taking things to cabinet, he go share it with the prime minister alone. So we don't know what's going on there. But my brother, we're going to talk.
Yes. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you.
One love.
And we have a caller online. Good night.
Good night, Senator Scott.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Hi there, buddy. Senator is glad that you come out with that to educate the Grenadian people. Because a man just can't sign a paper. You was in government, Senator Scott. And something like that come up. You can go and sign that paper at any member of the government without Dr. Mitchell knowing.
Wait, that can happen. You must know.
Remember in 2008, I'll go back to 2008, when Peter David went to Cuba after they discussed everything about the international airport. And Peter went to Cuba and bring up that in Cuba. I don't know if you remember
yes,
what went on for that thing.
I remember that, yeah. The renaming of the then Point 7 airport to the Maurice Bishop.
Airport.
Yeah.
Tillman was so mad, although they discussed that.
Mm-hmm.
And he reached a point that thing, but because Peter went to Cuba and Peter accepted that, to the Cuban government, was a big uproar inside the NDC. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's think about it how they shove their hand in their mouth, Now this alliance, because them is not NDC, them is only alliance. You understand what I mean? This alliance, always saying, the Prime Minister, always think we are fool. Always telling us, every time you ask him a question, he always find in some way, it's either he was not wrong, either he was traveling, he don't know nothing. So everything happening, he don't know nothing. Mr. Know Nothing, don't know nothing.
I don't know.
You understand me? I don't know. He like both together and one without the other. So you have to sell, you can't sell one cow. You have to sell the two cows, both together and not one without the other. I don't understand what's going on in my country. Come on. This is a serious thing, Sheldon. Just remember, the Minister of Education had to say, where we getting on so. He didn't even know too. He was hiding when everybody trying to find him. And then when he do come out in the light, he don't know what we're going on so on. If you go back and play the tape, you go hear exactly the word he used. Because he's telling us it was coming. Regardless if you like it or not, it was coming. We know it's coming.
Yeah.
You think about it. Go back and play them. You're going to hear what they say. You know what I mean? They have a briefcase of flicking zombie inside a bar. And when they have to come out and stand up for people to know how educated they is, you can hear that from them. They only could jump on a plane and come to New York or Canada and talk like some big FA. You understand? That's all they could talk about. But to do the right thing for the country, they can't do it. They cannot do it. And it's time for Grenadian people to get up and say, get out, man. You guys can't do the job. Don't try to fake us. We are real people. And it's real people who vote on you and put all you there. You understand? It's real people who do the job. You know? So don't do that to us, man. And your shell, and you have a good one.
All right, my brother. Thank you so very much. And we have a caller. Hello, good night.
Good night, Sheldon.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, thank you, brother.
All right, you go right ahead.
Yeah, I just want to add my bit to the discussion here tonight. Just want to go back to something the Prime Minister said at the press conference or press meeting he had yesterday. when you talk about separation of church and state, the Prime Minister, I think he was the brightest thing since, God created the galaxy, honestly. Because separation of church and state doesn't mean, because the impression he gives is that the church could say one thing and the government, because he talk about law and morality and all of that, and maybe the church, well, let's say other thing, but it's really what matters is the law of the land. Separation of church and state doesn't mean that the church doesn't have a voice. Separation of church and state means that there is no provision in law or constitution that gives church any specific pride or place or priority or anything like, okay, like the state doesn't recognize a particular religion as state religion or any kind of thing. So that is in essence what separation of church and state means. But the impression the Prime Minister gives is polar opposite, that the church is at one end of the spectrum and this government and state does its own thing. And the Prime Minister talk like a fool, I can tell you that. I can tell you, because the Prime Minister talk about moralities are private things. So, Sheldon, the Bible says righteousness exalts a nation, and sin is a reproach to a people. Sheldon, anything. So, based on the Prime Minister's premise, it means a man could choose to murder somebody. That's a moral issue, and that's a moral he could choose.
It's not a private issue.
Exactly. And all of these things have consequences. Anything that we do. And the other thing, Lord Jesus, give me some patience. Lord. So, and the Prime Minister should know, as a lawyer, that most, practically maybe until recent time, all of Western civilization was based primarily or was inherent in biblical or the commandments of God. It was more Christianized. Laws were Christianized and made humane based simply because of biblical principles, because Christianity was the dominant force or religion or anything that pervades the civilization as we came to know. When the Christians or colonizers came to the world, they thought, well, okay, people living barbaric. I'm not agreeing necessarily, but I thought they were primitive, and they brought a more, supposedly in their eyes, a more humane and Christian. Sorry?
Caller, you want to know something?
Yes, Sheldon.
When the British, the Spanish, and the French, and the Dutch, and even at one point in time, I think the Belgians and the Portuguese, etc., were coming through the Caribbean and were massacring the original people and bringing over people from Africa and so on. They put in place several laws, and they told us, for instance, they told us to flog children.
Mm-hmm.
They told us to flog people in the prison system.
Mm-hmm.
They told us to hang people.
Mm-hmm.
They told us that it was immoral for a man to live with a man or a woman to live with a woman.
Exactly.
These laws were put in place in the Caribbean and so on by them.
Exactly,
the same people who now coming back and tell us that these laws are barbaric.
Exactly. And to another point, I called this program before, and maybe else, and Sheldon, Grenadians, as a people, we need to listen and open our ears. And particularly in light of this government and present administration, whenever this Prime Minister speaks, we need to listen and pay attention. No fall for all this, Obama and this and that, which I can see up to this point in time. The Prime Minister said that Independence celebration, I mentioned it, that we are going to pursue a progressive agenda. People just they clap and the best independence speech and hook winking us all along. Shannon, I want Grenadians to wake up. I am telling you, I am very worried about this country. Very, very worried and concerned that, to quote the Labour Minister, the irreparable damage that will be done to this country at the end of this administration term in office. And I beg God to hasten the day when he put a stop to this thing that is happening in our country. I beg God, for the sake of, like in Sodom and Gomorrah, the 5 people who may still believe in him or want to follow him, for the sake of the good people, according to Handel, that is in Grenada, for the sake of the people who really want to live the way God wants us to live and not see our country change overnight before our very eyes, God intervene and save and put a hand on this nation. save us from what is happening from this. I like to say NDC, this NDC government. Shannon, this is what I want to say tonight. I'm very incensed tonight. Very, very incensed. And I hope
you need to read the document you're going to see.
Yeah, Shannon, I've been gleaning through whatever little bits and pieces I could think. And talk on the Archbishop as though Christians are you're not supposed to have an opposing about law. What is law?
Surprising he knew what the Archbishop said, but not what the document said.
Exactly,
anyway,
precisely.
We'll get back to that one. But brother, we're gonna give somebody else a chance to come
God
in because
bless
the
you,
time is running down on us.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I see some people trying constantly to get in. Let me see if I can bring in somebody on the WhatsApp. I see the overseas line going out, the WhatsApp line going. I see the local line going. Let me see if I can. Yes. Hello. Good night. Hello.
Sure.
Hi, caller. Go right ahead.
Yeah, sure. This is how we speaking, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what I really called to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sunday coming, okay? There will be over at least 8,000 visitors to the island, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the problem, Sheldon, right now, within the tourism industry.
My brother, we on one issue tonight. Let we stay there. Let we don't go on another issue. Let me save that one for Monday now. Let me stick on the issue we on tonight. Let me do shift. Because I have a lot of people trying to call in on this issue, and I don't want to deny them the opportunity. But give us a synopsis of that one quick though as you're there. You're there already? Give me a synopsis.
Yes, Rich.
But you have 8,000 coming in.
I give you a call, so
no.
I didn't know what is the problem, so I'll call you Monday night, okay?
No problem, my brother. All right, great. Thank you.
All
right. Yeah, I don't want to shift off on a tangent. Yeah, I want to be able to stick on this one, right? Because I realize a lot of people are calling. They're trying. All the lines are going right now. We have a call online. Good night. Hello.
Hello, Sheldon.
Hi, good night.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Go right
yeah,
ahead.
Sheldon, long time listener, first time caller.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job. And you know what? I do have to mention, over the months, I have learned a tremendous amount of politics from you.
All right, thank you.
You've been teaching me very well.
All right, thanks.
You know what? In regard to the Prime Minister and that document, I don't think he's been sincere with the Grenadian public. Him being a lawyer, number one, and number two, seeing that document was available since before today, we have to assume he had access to that document. So I don't think he's been sincere. And before I close, I just want to say, every time I see the Prime Minister, I've never seen him with a female companion.
I ain't going down that road. Now that road are all kind of trap, all kind of thing down there. Afraid.
I mean, he's overseas. He's dressed up all nice and everything, and you'll think he'll have a nice female by his side, but I haven't been seeing that. I don't know why.
I ain't taking part, brother, but you're making an observation of what you have viewed visually.
Yes.
Yes, that's how we put it. You're making an observation.
Okay.
All right, thank you so very much. No problem, my brother. And don't be a stranger. Call again.
I would. I certainly would.
All right. Thank you so very much.
Yeah.
Yes, the caller is simply, excuse me, yes. The caller is simply making an observation of what he has visually, he has picked up, yeah? What he has picked up over the time. Yes, we're still taking your calls, yeah? I'll stay a little after the usual time. I will stay a little longer. We've got a call online. Good night.
Yeah, good night, Sheldon.
Yes, ma'am.
Sheldon,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so upset tonight. I think you might see me right up. I want to ask now, where is our Bishop Harvey in Grenada? I listened to the Bishop in Trinidad, right? Because they said they did not sign that document. And also the Jamaica, they did not sign that document. I asking now, where is Bishop Harvey and Sanford Simon, right? They're always on the air, the two of them together. We are a Christian nation and a praying nation, right now Grenada in trouble with this thing because I have like a niece and nephew, right? Because they could go to school, and when them come out to school, they could go in and telling their mother now about same sex, right? So I want to hear what Bishop Harvey saying, and I want to hear what Sanford Simon saying now, because we in trouble in Grenada, we in hell in Grenada now. Deacon put us in hell, and he saying no, he don't know about that document. He must know about the document. What they do, they shove Raphael Joseph down the drain, and them taking out themselves. Right?
I don't
and
think
he always
Raphael,
lying. He's only lie. We tired of hear lie. Thank you, Sheldon.
all right, but there. And I don't think Mr. Raphael Joseph is a madman. I don't think that he's psychologically imbalanced. I do not think that he would go and sign a document on behalf of you and me and those to come behind us. Yeah, children that are even born, he signed a document for them too. I don't think that he would have done something like that without being directed to do so. And if he's being directed to do so, I would hope that the people directing him to do so would at least read the document. We've got a caller online. Good night. Hello, caller, you're live. Go right ahead. Hello.
Hey, Sheldon.
Hi. Yes, caller, you're live. Go right ahead.
How you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm quite fine.
Good program, eh?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. I don't believe that Raphael Joseph and the people in the foreign minister, whatever, will sign a document without the knowledge of the prime minister.
And that would be crazy, wouldn't it? That you're signing agreements out there on behalf of Grenada and the prime minister doesn't know what's in it. Suppose
Then
it's
if
in.
that's the case, then Raphael Joseph has to be fired and the foreign minister have to be fired because they broke the law.
Mm-hmm. So suppose the agreement that they signed was that the other country could own half of Grenada. Suppose they gave away all our seaports and our airport and everything, or the agreement signed, there was some part in that 400 and how much pages that said that every grain and nutmeg in Grenada now belongs to France or somebody. They didn't read it, but it's signed.
But that's what I'm saying. He has to fire the foreign minister and Raphael Joseph, who is based in Belgium. But I don't believe anything that the prime minister has said. I think he's not transparent. He's not coming clean to the Grenadian people, and I think that is ridiculous.
You want to know something, my friend? Before he got to that part about him not reading the document, you realize there was a long pause?
Yes, it was. I listened to him. I listened.
There was a long pause before he got to that part. Like, the cogs up there were working. Boy, I wonder if I should say that or I should say this instead. The cogs were turning up there as to what, I wonder what light to put on them this time. You know, but to say that you didn't read the document and it is now signed, that's, wow.
Come on, you think people are stupid?
Yeah, well, it seems so. That seems to be the belief.
I think what he's doing is running this country like if he's running his law firm.
My friend, I thank you so very much for your input. Please call again. I enjoy our conversations.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. And let me see, there was a caller that was trying for quite a few times. They were trying to get through on the WhatsApp. And while I've been taking the calls on the overseas line and the local line, let me give that caller the opportunity to weigh in. I don't know who it is, but I'm giving the caller an opportunity. I'm trying to call them back to give them the opportunity to weigh in as well. All right, folks, and remember 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. Remember, there will be aspects of our educational system that would have to be aligned to meet what is being said in this agreement. We have a call online. Good night. Hello.
Good night, Sheldon.
Hi, good night. Hi, good night.
Yes, Sheldon, I'm listening.
Yes, ma'am.
I have to get you all. Sheldon, even a blind person could see that the Prime Minister lied. Sheldon, he knew about the document. The document was been circulating long before they signed. And when Andy Williams right, shut it live, I want to shut it live. Shut it live. Look how Eric line and say, and Infinity want to sign to LGT or whatever the word is in Grenada. That is a big lie. Where Andy Williams tonight? Where is him? You remember the video here on Facebook? Shall everybody come and listen for NMP line and them?
Well, I wonder if he read the document.
You understand? But they know about the line been circulating long. But they say to sign it now.
You
And you
heard,
know why they sign it. We can't escape it.
well, you
Can't
heard,
escape. Everybody know why.
you've heard the foreign minister of
escape it.
Jamaica. You've heard you've heard what happened in Trinidad and so on. So you've heard other countries speaking about it. But Grenada, we read it, but we sign it. That is where we at right now.
That been
All right, caller. Thank you so very much. Hello? Okay, that caller seems to be having a problem with their line as well. Folks, yeah, I'm staying a couple minutes, so I will take your calls. Yeah, I will take your calls. Call. Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, I don't
If you so
mind.
desire.
Well, I think, whether it's international agreements or not, morality and values, to a large extent, defined by the culture of any particular country or any particular region. And so, questions about, certainly the questions raised by the comments of the Archbishop, I think, are always good. They're questions for debate. They're questions about what leadership involves or it doesn't involve. But I always want to say, first and foremost, morality is a private issue. That's one. We have to bear that in mind. Two, certainly in the context of the region, we've had separation of church and state a long time ago. And three, from a public perspective, the government deals with law and what's legal or what's not legal. And so we have to be careful that we do not blur the line between private morality and law. And I certainly think from our perspective, the morality of other countries is not something that should be imposed on the morality of other countries. Nor, in my view, should it be tied to aid, because it essentially means other countries are trying to impose either their morality or their public policy on other countries by tying it to aid. So that's not, philosophically, that's not something we support. Our approach is if a country intends to engage in, whether it's grant funding, aid funding, or loans with us, those are commercial matters. And from our perspective, it is commercial terms that should govern them. If you attempt to impose what I would call morality issues into them, then I think certainly from our perspective, we view the two as separate, and it is not likely that this government will simply sign because we need to get some grant funding or some aid funding. So to that extent, the bishop's views are obviously his, and the sense I got from his comments is, I don't know, and that's one of the things I have to say. I myself have not read the agreement, so I can't tell you whether the agreement says the things that people are saying it says. I suspect at the end of the day, our technocrats and bureaucrats who go through the agreement will best be in a position to tell us exactly what the agreements actually state.
So, folks, remember what the Prime Minister said here? Yeah, read it. Yeah, but it's signed.
Because we need to get some grant funding or some aid funding. So to that extent, the bishop's views are obviously his, and the sense I got from his comments is, I don't know, and that's one of the things I have to say. I myself have not read the agreement.
So he knows what the bishop said, and even after hearing what the bishop said, your Prime Minister did not read the agreement, but they make sure and sign it. Because he's saying the sense that he got from the bishop's statement, the reporter didn't tell him what the full thing of what the bishop said. She just mentioned that he spoke in relation to it. So it's obvious that your Prime Minister heard what the bishop said, but he did not read the agreement. Yeah, he did not read it.
I don't know, and that's one of the things I have to say. I myself have not read the agreement.
Not me that say. Yeah, and I ain't AI, that is he talking, ain't it?
And the sense I got from his comments is, I don't know, and that's one of the things I have to say. I myself have not read the agreement.
But it's signed on behalf of every one of us. Yeah, he didn't read the agreement, but while he's saying that, the agreement was being signed, isn't it?
And the sense I got from his comments is, I don't know, and that's one of the things I have to say. I myself have not read the agreement. So I can't tell you whether the agreement says the things that people are saying it says.
Yeah, but it's signed though. It's signed. We have a caller. Hello.
Yeah, Shalom. Good evening, bro.
Yeah,
Again, just returning briefly to...
You got to make it brief and truth.
I know, very. Just that the lady who inquiring with the bishop, I can say that he and the entire clergy has been on retreat since Sunday of last week, this week. So I suspect during the week he has a program every Thursday on Catholic radio, so I guess you can call. But I know all liturgical celebrations, funerals, everything, they were away. They were in retreat for the week. So I don't expect he would have been able to comment openly or publicly on the issue just yet. But that's the reason she may not have heard, because knowing him, as I do, some media person would have contacted him and he would have put his 2 pence already. So for better or for worse. So the entire church clergy was on retreat since Sunday of last week. So maybe up next week. So that's what I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you. All right. Yeah, so, maybe we might hear our bishop here talk in relation to it. We do not know. We may hear the bishop in Grenada speak in relation to it. We have a caller on the WhatsApp. Hello, good night.
Good night.
Hi, good night.
What is private morality?
Well, I don't know.
What is private morality? I heard Deacon talking about private morality. This man is losing his senses. What's wrong with this man at all? I would like to hear from my brethren, those church people. I'm one of them. I would like to hear what they have to say concerning that, because they have him as the most moral person out and godly man. Yes. So I would like to hear what they have to say. Good night.
All right, bye there. Yeah, it would be interesting because our laws are generally based on a particular moral code. The moral code says that you do not kill somebody without just cause. If somebody's trying to kill you and in the process of defending yourself, that person is killed, that's one thing. But there are laws that are based on a particular moral code. Yeah? You don't interfere with little children because morally that is wrong. Yeah? So you can't say that you could interfere with children in private because morality is a private thing. That's a disgusting statement. We have a call online. Good night.
Hello, good night.
Hi, good night.
Shalon.
Yes, ma'am.
You remember what the Prime Minister we had, and everything you asked him, that is,
Blaise?
oh God, what is his name again? Oh God, Braffett.
Braffett, yeah. I don't know.
You don't know?
Mm-hmm.
Everything he know. Braffett my Deacon father. Yeah, Braffett my Deacon father, and Deacon could lie too much. Deacon must stop lying for people in Grenada. You have to stop that. That is all I have to say for tonight.
All right, my dear. 44073. Yes, I'm going to be staying about 10 minutes more. 4407377. That's 4407377. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
His views are obviously his, and the sense I got from his comments is I don't know, and that's one of the things I have to say. I myself have not read the agreement, so I can't tell you whether the agreement says the things that people are saying it says. I suspect at the end of the day, our technocrats and bureaucrats who go through the agreement will best be in a position to tell us exactly what the agreements actually state.
Yeah, they will be best to tell us what the agreement actually states and so on. So we're not going to sign on to things that going to say that we are going to teach, for instance, LGBTQ in schools. We are not going to sign on to that, right? So we are not going to sign on to things that say that we are going to change our constitution, supreme law, and our laws in relation to specific, we ain't going to sign on to them kind of thing, in it. Yeah, because we don't, We have a call online. Good night.
Good night, Sheldon Scott. How you doing?
I'm quite fine, bro. How are you?
Not too bad, brother.
All right, you go right ahead.
Sheldon Scott,
Yes,
everything
sir.
you ask Deacon, you don't know. Well, where when he going to know? He going to tell us when he going to know?
Mm-hmm.
Sheldon Scott.
Man,
Sheldon, to be honest,
Mhm.
something wrong with Deacon.
But
A man tell me that the pressure is...
But how does morality
They can
become
start
a
to press
private
the
matter?
pressure. I realize now, boy, it's not an easy walk. He thought it was a walk over. You know, so at a a bread shop, you come, you put bread, and you buy and you go. So, and you don't ask no question. Because that's what they're doing to it. You come, you buy, and you go, and they say don't ask no question. Because they say, it said in the election campaign, is on a need-to-know basis. But everything you ask Deacon now, you don't know. So when would he know as a prime minister? If you are the prime minister of this country and you don't know, when would you know? Look, I understand there's some ambassador doing certain things, sign up for the same homosexual thing, and they can say you don't know about that. But what is going on in Grenada? You go and you sign for the thing, and yet when the people ask you that in ask you that in your press conference, you're saying, I don't know. You're not aware. You everything you're not aware. Well, are you the Prime Minister of this country or not?
My brother.
I don't like to make Mr. Deacon face and ask him, are you the Prime Minister or not? Is Andy the Prime Minister?
Just remember
Because
the
everything
same.
you ask, you don't know.
Just remember the same day he was saying that it was being signed, and this is not you signing a book to say that you was in a place. This is not you going to visit a place and you sign the book and say, well, the ambassador of Grenada was here, and you just put lovely place, willing to come back. This is something that has tied the country in for the next 20 years, that we must address certain legislation and our constitution, even our education system, our health care system, because you would have to basically legalize abortions. You'd have to legalize those kind of things. And there are other aspects of our healthcare system. You may very well find that you no longer have a bathroom that just male and female. You may have to include a third one. You may also have to start to allow people who identify as male to use a male bathroom, and people who identify as female to use a female bathroom, because they have a specific gender identity. Yeah? There are lots of things that this thing is tied into. Lots of things that this is tied into. The language in it is very specific. The word gender is mentioned 61 times in that document. 61
But I just want to say
times.
good night again to my parliamentary representative, Clarice Modest. We're having a meeting tomorrow, and I hope the people of Maran will come out and support her tomorrow and St. Max. Because tomorrow is our big day.
Up in Heroes Square.
Encouraging everybody to come out. Come out.
Heroes Square from 6:30. I've been on to
Heroes
this so
Square
much.
tomorrow, please God.
Yeah.
What time again? What time? I think I don't.
6:30. 6:30.
6 o'clock.
6:30. We'll get there for 6, man.
6:30.
You could start from 6.
But I wish you not be St. 5. I'll be St. 5.
Of course.
So the point I make, I just want to say again, Deacon is a man. He just come here, as I say, to fully pocket. They're traveling about Entourage, 32 of them, and they don't care about Grenada.
Okay,
These men and them have no. One time today, they can, don't worry, give Deacon a chance. What chance again? Is that a raffle? Is that raffling?
My brother, we go talk because it's starting to get late.
All right, brother. I want to have a good night.
All right, good.
But again, I just want to encourage the people of Maran to come out and support Dr. Modest tomorrow.
St. Mark on a whole. Yeah. All right.
St. Mark's on a whole. We're calling on audio tomorrow. Come out with large numbers and let we march.
Of course.
Let we march on. It's time.
All right, my brother.
We come out in our shell and come out to support Dr. Modest.
All right.
Have a good night.
Great, thanks. Yes, indeed. I'm going to try one more call for the night. Someone that was calling on the WhatsApp. I missed the call. So I'm going to try one more call for the night, and then, yeah, we're going to wrap the program. Folks, also remember, on Sunday, we're heading to St. John. Sunday in front of the Nutmeg Pool in St. John for 6:30. Tomorrow in St. Mark. We have a call on the line. Good night.
Yes, good night, Brother Sheldon. Good night, good night.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing good, thank you.
All right.
How is everything with you?
I wonder now I'm reaching home. We go talk after. Yeah, go right ahead though.
Right. So listen to me. My biggest issue on this whole thing is not if, and it's not when, because it is here, right? So all the different discussions that we had before, we no longer have that discussion. We have to now start thinking about tomorrow, from today onward. Okay? Now I am calling on the pastors, on the religious personnel within the ranks of the parliament of our nation. We have some of them there. Right? I am wondering, what would they do, or what would they say in giving the approval for these laws that is here now? What would they say? What do they do? Right? So let us call upon them to come to the people of Grenada because I call that a backdoor strategy. They use a backdoor strategy on us. The Prime Minister said that he did not read the document, right? While Mr. Joseph, the ambassador, signed the document on whose behalf? I don't recognize Mr. Joseph as one having the authority from the people of Grenada, because they said that they are going to consult with the people. They said that they're going to have consultation.
Hello?
So I am having problems with that. Oh yes, I'm here.
No, I didn't hear you
I'm
for
here.
a couple of seconds there. Yeah. But as I said, I do not believe that the gentleman is a madman. I don't believe that there's any psychological or psychotic issues when it comes to Mr. Joseph, that he would just go and sign this.
Right.
At the same time that you have the Prime Minister and them saying that they're looking at it and he hasn't seen it yet and so on, but yet still it's being signed. Something definitely had to be wrong with that. Something is wrong. Somebody lying or something is definitely wrong somewhere.
So I want the Prime Minister and his team to know that the same Archbishop would have called that a bubble government, lying for the people, a misrepresentation of the truth. Right? I believe I kind of lose you again, Brother
No,
Sheldon.
I'm hearing you. We're hearing you. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. I believe that the people of Grenada need to call upon our government to recant. I know it might be too late now. Don't you think? It might be too late because the Prime Minister said it is an issue of grants and funding. Am I hearing correctly?
Well, yes, because remember, what is signed is not a loan agreement. What is signed is an agreement that you are going to do things in a certain way to be able to qualify for those billions of dollars. So they're wagging the money in front of you and they're saying, watch now, if you do that, I'll give that money. If you do this, I'll give you that money. See, you understand? So they're wagging the money in front of you and they're saying, come, we will give you some money, but you have to do that. All right? Pastor, you have a good night. We're going to speak again. All right. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Good night to you.
Okay.
Good night.
All right. Yes, I think we're going to wrap on the phone calls right about. I hope everybody that wanted to get through got through. We will be further discussing this issue along with others on Monday. I should have a guest on with me. We're going to attempt to bring on my good friend, Mr. Oliver Joseph. We're going to try to bring him on, former Minister of Foreign Affairs. And so going to try to bring him on Monday with me to discuss these issues and some other issues as well. All right. We had the IMF thing and all of that. We're going to discuss some of that with Brother Oliver on Monday, God's willing. Folks, remember tomorrow, all roads lead to Heroes Square in St. Mark tomorrow. That's where the New National Party will be having that meeting tomorrow, as well as on Sunday. All roads lead to in front of the Nutmeg Pool in Guave. Hope to see you all there. You understand? What, we'll take our final one before we go. Oh, we missed that one. Oh, I missed that one. Hey, I thought I was quick on the draw. Right, so we missed our final one. But yeah, so all roads lead there this weekend. You have the meeting tomorrow. Remember, that's in St. Mark. That's in Heroes Square. And then on Sunday, all roads lead to St. John in front of the Nutmeg Pool. All right, folks, our first Friday night program. You know, if the transportation thing work out and I don't have to walk home tonight, we might have one another Friday. But if I had to get trouble to go home, oh gosh, surely I don't understand. All right? Nice, folks. That's all the time we have for tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you. And for this week, in whatever you say and do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to and with you and definitely not about you. My name is Sheldon Scott, heading out of here. Gonna leave you all with this one.
Thank you. Bam, 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 bay. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. They said the man was a good teacher and education officer, very loyal to his profession. He loved to give information. But since he become Prime Minister, oh, what a complete turnaround. I don't know if it's mental pressure. The man get like a real dum-dum. And anything you ask him, I don't know. One answer you get him, I don't know. How much you retrench him, I don't know. When IMF coming, I don't know. The ship of state sinking quite rapidly. The captain knows nothing. What a tragedy. All what Mitchell asked him, I don't know. Don't care how they beg him, I don't know. What's about Ken Lansing, I don't know. Will you reinstate him, I don't know. After the PRG government, the boast about democracy. Now take a walk up to Parliament. What you will see is real mockery. They don't care about standing orders or what's on the other paper. And don't dare call on no speaker. They all have their own agenda. And anything you ask them, I don't know. Don't care what's the problem, I don't know. Where the fire money, I don't know. How much you spend already, I don't know. The ship of state sinking quite rapidly. The captain knows nothing. What a tragedy. What's about the AG? I don't know. I hear John call him slimy. I don't know. Is the party splitting? I don't know. Where is he going? I don't know. When they're campaigning for election, you could hear them shouting aloud. Under our administration, the people's voices must be heard. But everywhere the people bawling, they have them farmers shedding tears. But it's like nobody listening. All the cries falling on their heads. And anything you ask them, I don't know. Don't care what's the problem, I don't know. Who buy out Hog Island, I don't know. Is it a mystery man, I don't know. The ship of state sinking quite rapidly. The captain knows nothing, what a tragedy. What's about the big farm? I don't know. Will it pollute the island? I don't know. How is education? I don't know. What's about tourism? I don't know. Senator. They always boast about Westminster. They say it is the best system. how long they will survive. Cause we surely teach them a lesson. In the end, 1995. For everything you ask them, I don't know. People having problems, I don't know. They ain't pay no bonus, I don't know. We catching with royal. The ship was still sinking quite rapidly. The captain knows nothing. What a tragedy. How you spend your Christmas? I don't know. Till you eat, till your belly butts? I don't know. Did you drink plenty whiskey? I don't know. Did you leave some ham for me? I don't know. How is Queen's going? I don't know. Where the country going? I don't know. When IMF coming? I don't know. How much they retrenching? I don't know. Do you want the AG? I don't know. To run this little country? What's about the monkey? I don't know. Will you going to try he? I don't know. What's about Uncle Gary? I don't know.